off into the night with a torch, and an Ingan is really remorseful or horny or something, so he chases after her with his own torch, and they end up running so fast that they took off like a plane into the sky, and Melina became the sun while an Ingan became the moon. Excuse me, Mrs. Elder, if the sun and moon did—
Hey guys, alright, today we're watching yet another Salmonella video. The Wild World of Inuit Folklore. Inuits have a cool fucking culture. Actually, you know what? No, most of the native population of the United States did have a really fucking cool folklore or culture around them. Sucks that, you know, good old Manifest Destiny had to go and, you know, destroy them all. That really kind of shit. Colonization, yay. Fun times, destroying unique cultures, and then anyways, enough about that depressing the depressing reality of the lost cultures over time. But yeah, let's go ahead and watch The Wild World of Inuit Folklore. If you grew up with good old Avatar The Last Airbender like I did, you know that the water tribe, or the northern and southern water tribes, are based upon the Inuit peoples with their like hairstyles and just their clothing, and I guess kind of their way of life a little bit as well. But outside of that, I don't really know too much about the Inuits. As I think they are one of the native or indigenous peoples that are kind of not talked about as much. You'll hear about the Pueblo, the Cherokee. Oh no, I'm forgetting names. Iroquois. Oh, no, I keep forgetting names. The Sioux. What are the others? And then, of course, the South American and Middle American ones, you know, the Aztecs, Incas, and Mayans. You hear about those cultures plenty. But I don't think you really get to learn about the Inuits, so let's learn about their folklore. Yeah. I'm losing my mind, and my eye itches. I think I got it.
Hey kids, from clubbing seals to inventing new compound nouns for snow, nobody knows how to kick it quite like the Inuit. Of course, if you're a close-minded tree dweller like me, you might initially think that they can't be that good at storytelling, given that they only know about like 6 things. But that's not true. They've actually got an incredibly complex and fascinating oral tradition. You could ask one about it, there's plenty of these guys around today, but they've got Jesus and microwaves and shit, and that's boring. We want to talk about the stuff from before missionaries came and sent their miserable way of life to a farm upstate. So instead, let a 20-year-old college kid who's never—
He's younger than me. No. Wait, when was this video made? I was right. In the obscure obsolete inventions video, I said he was like my age. I was right.
lived outside of Delaware tell you all about it. Obvious disclaimer.
Or I'm older than him, I don't know. I think I might be a year older.
Inuits are super diverse. Calling a caribou Inuit a copper Inuit is like calling a copper caribou a caribou caribou.
What?
Sure, they both look the same from far away, but when a thunderstorm hits, you better know which one to hide under. As such, while most of the following can be applied in broad terms to most Inuits, the little details come from a variety of subcultures that don't necessarily represent the whole. God, it's swank. Now, a lot of the world's faiths are centered around bringing people together and inspiring them with stories and images of the divine, so as to give them a wider sense of purpose here on Earth. That's all well and good, but that whole search for greater meaning thing only really comes into play once your original purpose of making sure you don't die is pretty much figured out. Not so for the Inuit. You see, it ain't so easy living in a place where plants can't grow.
Yeah. Oh, this is a really cool thing. So what you see in countries, continents, landscapes, cultures in which they don't have access or the means to live a life of sustenance or a life of excess, like European cultures would begin to experience around the time of the rise of Christianity, like the rise of monotheistic religions, is kind of in part due to the regions that they came from. Those regions were fertile or had access to plenty of food to where these people could focus on other things. Whereas cultures that may not have had as much access to these reliable food source, or like were very susceptible to like famines, or needed to hunt and gather, like the Inuits, they would have a lifestyle, or well, their religions, their lore would be more evolved around, I guess, polytheism, and just like their everyday life would be, kind of, I don't know how to explain it well. Kind of like how I'm just going to use the Greek gods as an example. The Greek gods, each Greek god has a role to play for the Greek society. There's a god for smithing, there's a goddess of fertility, there's a goddess of love, there's a god of war, there's Zeus, the Allfather, or whatever. There's so many different. There's the god of death, the god of the sea, the god of whatever the fuck Apollo was. Messages, speed. I don't know. Mercury, whatever. But yeah. So the Inuits would have that kind of. The Inuits would not be the only people like this. Like much of the cultures in America would be like the Inuits because of the lack of access to stable food, or well, you need to be mobile. And you kind of see it in Africa, even though their connection to Islam through the Arabs and the rise of the Caliphate in the 700s brought, trade and religion spread that way. I'm obviously talking very broad here and not getting into the nitty gritty and into the specifics, and that would take too long.
When being naked for an hour means certain death. As such, their beliefs were a little more practical, being more so geared towards fostering the paranoid levels of fear required to survive in such a hostile environment.
Yeah.
For example,
and that's the word I was looking for, practical.
Inuit believed that everyone has a sort of life force or soul, what they called a nirnik, and like plenty of religions, they believed it lived on after death and could meddle in the world of mortals.
What the fuck? Dragging the body.
Regard animals as being spiritually inferior meat puppets, to the Inuits, a creature's soul is just as powerful and vengeful as that of a person.
As it should be. I think we can learn here. We should respect animals as equals.
And like I said, up there in the Arctic, not much greenery in the scenery, so they basically had no choice but to devour nothing but souls every single day. And wouldn't you know it, souls don't much care for getting ate. So the Inuit made sure to follow a complex set of guidelines on how to placate their prey in the afterlife, lest the pissed off ghost of that Arctic tern whispers sweet nothings into a polar bear's ears and turns your whole village into a big Japanese flag by sunrise. Here's a few. If you kill something, make sure you eat it all. Just as an American who doesn't clean his plate doesn't get dessert, an Inuit who doesn't eat all his walrus doesn't get any more walrus. Ever. Till they starve. If you kill a polar...
Really? Yo, that's... Honestly, I like that idea. That's honestly a pretty fair idea. You don't want to waste your shit. And I think that's something that I feel like was kind of lost with when the natives of this continent were killed, or just completely pushed out of where they were from, where they lived for centuries. They died off, etc. Not all of them died off, of course. I'm just broad stroking it here because this is a short video. Something that they all had in common was that they did not waste materials from animals. They did not waste anything. They used everything. And I think that was something that was certainly lost, and something that really needs to come back into style. We need to use all of the things that we, have access to, not waste things, not throw things away.
Bear, make sure to point its head towards the direction it came from so it can find its way home more easily. If you pull a seal out of the water, give him some fresh water so he's not thirsty when you bash his brain in. Also, its spirit lives in its bladder, so make sure to hold on to it until the yearly bladder festival, where everyone gets together, blows up their bladders like balloons, and throws them out to sea so they can reincarnate into new seals. These taboos aren't all just about
that's
hunting.
kind of weird.
For some reason, there's a load of them about pregnancy. Don't make fun of people's facial features or else the baby will have the same features. Don't walk backwards or else the baby will come out backwards. Dangerous. Face your head towards a doorway or it'll come out sideways. Also dangerous. Don't wrap rope around your hand or it'll come out with the umbilical cord around its neck. Extremely dangerous.
I've actually known people that. Well, I shouldn't say people as in multiple. I think I've only known one person. I think I knew one person that actually had the umbilical cord wrapped around their neck when they were born, and they almost fucking died. True story.
Don't drink directly.
And when they told me that, I think I was like in middle school. I was young. I was young when they told me that story. So I was like, that's messed up, dude. Like little me, like, holy shit. High pitched voice and all, because I'm a kid. And I'm like, that's messed up.
From a soup bowl, or it'll come out with dark skin. Not touching that one. Don't put a bowl on your head,
Sam, not touching that one. Okay.
or else it'll be wearing the placenta like a hat. Too hilarious. And the list goes on.
Ew.
Central to the consequences of breaking a lot of these rules is the being known as Sedna. The story behind Sedna varies pretty wildly between different groups of Inuits, but here's the gist of it. She was once a young girl who pissed everyone off, either by being annoying, or eating too much food, or rejecting an arranged marriage, or marrying a dog for some reason. So her father throws her out of a kayak, and when she tries to get back in, he chops off all her fingers. The sea goddess sees this, furrows her long floppy seaweed brow, does a sassy snap, and the girl turns into an immortal sea witch, while her disembodied fingers turn into the first seals. And to this day, Sedna sits at the bottom of the ocean, growing new fingers which promptly fall off and turn into all the world's seal lions and narwhalruses. That is until someone goofs up in some small arbitrary fashion like, yo Sedna, bad news, I just caught a guy chewing a piece of blubber. What's wrong with that? Well, he wasn't looking north while he did it. Are you fucking kidding me? In his defense, he was standing right on the pole, so he literally couldn't look anywhere but south. He could have moved! That's it! No more fingy foods for 3 moons! Another fun
He could have moved, man. He could have moved.
creation myth is how the moon and sun came to be. So long ago, there were these two siblings named Melina and Iningin. The two got along just fine as kids, but as the two got older, they were put into their respective genders' living areas and saw each other less and less. Then one day, Iningin got the feeling that his lower nose was in dire need of some Eskimo kisses. So that night, he snuck into the women's lodges, saw his sister, thought, I pick that one, and proceeded to do, unspeakable things, technically becoming his own Eskimo brother. But it was too dark at the time for Melina to tell what happened. The next night, Ningin's like, I'll fucking do it again. Only this time, Melina smears soot all over his face. So later, she goes over to the men's lodges, and who has crap all over his face but her brother? This makes her so mad that she cuts off her own breasts with a knife, puts them in a bowl, throws them at Ningin, and says, if you enjoy me so much, then here, eat them. Go ahead. Eat my disembodied, quivering titties. She runs off into the night with a torch, and Iningin is really remorseful or horny or something, so he chases after her with his own torch, and they end up running so fast that they took off like a plane into the sky, and Melina became the sun while Iningin became the moon. Excuse me, Mrs. Elder, if the sun and moon didn't exist yet, how did he do that stuff at night when there was no night? Now, some details of the story are tied into real-world phenomena. Some say that Iningin tripped and messed up his torch, which is why the moon is so dim. And the moon cycles are because he gets really skinny from chasing after her for so long. And the new moon is when he goes away for a few days to hunt seals so he can fatten back up. But here's the kicker. Nobody ever explains what the whole lopping off her tits part was supposed to represent. That's entirely just creative liberty. Just like, yes, that's why the sun doesn't have tits. Probably for the best it doesn't, otherwise half the population will be blind by now, and worse, it's the half that makes up 85% of my viewer base. So you know what?
Sam makes a fair point, and also, wow, only you get 85%? I get like 95% of mine male. I'm glad that the sun don't got tits. Otherwise, you guys probably wouldn't be watching me.
Thanks for slicing and dicing them tea towels, Melina. I kinda owe you my career. But as for you, your eyes are valuable. You should treat them to something more substantial and informative. Like, say, a library.
He's getting good at these transitions. God damn. He's really fucking good. I don't know. You know what? Learned a lot about the Inuit. A lot of wacky culture, but a lot of it, something you can respect, something you can learn from. Especially the whole, don't fucking waste shit that you hunt, of course. Except I think most hunters, most modern day hunters have gotten better. Obviously not the trophy hunters that go to Africa, of course. But hunters in the United States, I think, for the most part, have a good understanding and don't waste what they hunt. I don't know what you do with the pelts, though, in the modern day. Because obviously, you know, I know some hunters, they'll have venison in their freezers or whatever for like months while they go to town on eating it during the winter. But I don't know what you do with the pelts in the modern day. Do you just sell them to someone? I don't know. But yeah, this was a good video. I love Salmonella so much. I'm just gonna keep watching him. This is probably gonna be. I really should get back to watching regular shit. But I'm really enjoying watching Salmonella. Since we finished up Oversimplified, now we've got more videos of Salmonella to get through that are still history related that I want to get to. But don't worry, the old content will be returning sometime, as well as original content, hopefully, when I'm stop being lazy and I actually get around to making it. But I want those videos to be of significant higher quality than what these reaction videos are. So I want to put more effort into them. So that takes more time. So I don't know when my original content will start coming out, but I'm sure I will of course keep you guys notified. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to leave a suggestion down below for what you want to see me react to next, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.